Hello and welcome to Simple French Cooking. My name is Francois, and today I want to teach you how to make the perfect dish for spring. It's an artichoke tart tatin. So join me today as I teach you this beautiful, beautiful dish. All right, now the thing about this dish is you want to choose artichokes that are on the larger side, and then also squeeze the base right here. And you want to find ones that are firm. Sometimes in the early part of spring, they're really soft. And what that means is the bottom, which we're going to trim this artichoke down, is really tiny. And you don't want that because then you're just paying for a larger size and you're not really getting a larger artichoke. So keep that in mind when you're at the store selecting your artichokes. Fill a pot with some water, put a couple lemon slices, some herbes de Provence, and a bay leaf, a little splash of olive oil, and you're set to go. Now here's the hardest part. You have to peel the artichokes. And what you want to do is take a super sharp paring knife and just cut around the base of the bottom. And it takes a little bit of practice. You might screw up one or two. Then you want to trim off any of the green part off of the bottom. And it's going to take a little bit of pressure, but once again, just take your time, do it slowly, trim off any little bits that are green. Now we're just going to cut the choke leaves off of the bottom, just right above where you see the bottom. And then just trim around the side because this part is tough and not really that good to eat. Now I like to take the tip of the paring knife and just cut around the actual choke itself. This will help you get it out in a second. Take a nice clean spoon and just remove those nasty little hairs. You want to make sure you get them all. Then when you're done with that, put all your bottoms into the pot with your lemons, and you want to bring this to a boil and then simmer it till they're tender. And it's probably going to take you about 20 minutes. And the way you check is you just stick a little knife inside and you shouldn't meet too much resistance. Now we're going to take these out and let them cool. Discard the liquid. There's nothing you can do with that. All right, now we're just gonna peel an onion. And then, the idea, I like to use onions and fennel and peppers, but use whatever you have on hand. Sometimes I've made this just with onions. You just wanna slice it thin. You don't have to be too perfect. And the same with the fennel, just cut it in half, slice it, do your best job to cut it as thin as possible. And you're just gonna wanna julienne that too, and don't worry if the pieces aren't perfect. This is a rustic tart, and rustic is fine. Cut the tops off the peppers. Now all I had today was just these little sweet peppers, but use one bell pepper instead of these 3 small ones if you like. You just wanna get the seeds out, then we're just gonna cut it in half and just julienne these guys as well. Let's just mash a clove or 2 of garlic. Love garlic, gotta always have some garlic in here. Make sure you cut the little hard ends off, those aren't good to eat. And I really don't like to chop my garlic too fine, but do what you like. Put a little bit of olive oil in your saute pan, then let's just add all of our vegetables into there. And we're just gonna cook these guys till they're tender. I believe it took 5 or 10 minutes. Towards the end of the cooking time, you wanna add your garlic, just stir it in. Please excuse my fish cooking in the background, but I was making lunch. All right, time to roll out your puff pastry. Just get a little flour down on your surface, dust the top of your dough. And you know, I usually use like odd and end pieces of puff pastry. You know, I save it for this tart because it really doesn't matter. And all we're trying to do is just roll it out about 1/4 inch thick. Don't worry about being too perfect. This is a rustic tart. Alrighty, now we're just gonna slice our artichoke bottoms thinly. You don't have to be too perfect here, about 1/8 inch or so. And this is a little trick I learned. Take a piece of parchment paper, fold it in half, and then we're gonna fold it in half again. And I'm gonna show you how you cut a perfect circle. I like to put a little olive oil down. I know there's parchment, but it just adds to the Provencal flavors. Look at that, it fits perfectly. Now I flip it over because I like the oil on the artichokes. And then we're just gonna arrange the artichokes in a circle pattern all the way around and just keep laying them till you're done with all your artichokes. And you know, 4 artichokes seems to make about a 10 to 12 inch pan perfectly fine. All right, look at that. That's just perfect. Now just spread your vegetables over your artichokes. And you know, the important thing to remember is you are making this tart upside down, so this layer no one's ever gonna see. Now break your goat cheese just randomly over the top of that, or whatever cheese you're using. Then just put your dough and just fold it over. It's gonna fit perfectly. What a wonderful tart this is. So easy, you know, and I don't even refrigerate or relax the puff pastry. I just put it right over. It seems to work fine every time for me, and I'm sure it will for you. Now preheat your oven to 400 degrees and put your artichoke tart in the bottom of your oven for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, you're gonna want to pull it out and then put it on the top shelf for another 15 to 20 minutes, or until it's beautiful and brown. Oh my God, would you look at that tart? Here's the moment of truth. Now I have to flip this over. And the reason I put the parchment paper down is it just makes for certain that it's gonna come out way easier than if you didn't, even in a non-stick pan. That's just something I've learned through trial and error. But you take a plate, and then you just gotta commit to this. Wow! All right, let's see. Oh my God. Oh, look at how perfect that looks. That is incredible. Oh man, this looks so delicious. And you know, it's really not that hard to make. And you know, if you don't like goat cheese, you can use a little bit of Parmesan sprinkled in, or you don't have to have any cheese. There's no rule that says you have to have any. You know, the thing is too, if you flip it over and the top of the crust is not cooked enough, it's okay, put it back in the oven on a sheet pan with the top side exposed and just let the dough cook, because there's nothing worse than soggy puff pastry. But this one looks perfect. I'm gonna serve this with some tapenade and with rosé. This would be great with a green salad. Makes a great starter, it's a great lunch course, you know, whatever, it's a great light dinner. Anyways, thanks so much for watching Simple French Cooking. I hope you enjoyed everything. Please subscribe to my channel, hit the bell to get notifications, and take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye-bye.